Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wrassle Graps. My name is Chris.
My name is Vincent.
We have just finished watching Monday Night Raw. We're going to do the review for it. Been away for a bit, pondering some video ideas. Might see it soon, might not. We're going to try and figure it out. But back here to review Monday Night Raw from May 19th, 2025. So let's just get straight into it.
Good, we're
Starts up.
back finally after a long break.
Yeah, a lot happened, but let's, won't get into that right now. Mainly because we are tired from watching Raw. Long day, long show.
Exactly.
So starts off Logan Paul, so already starting off questionable. Comes out
Yeah,
because same promo you probably heard a million times. Uh,
facts.
Building to a match that absolutely nobody in their right mind would want to watch nor ask for. Logan Paul versus Jey Uso this Saturday. Good
Yeah,
God,
that match sounds horrible for a main event as well.
dude! Like I haven't watched Raw in a couple of weeks, but it's just like crazy, dude. I come back and this is what we're doing. Seriously.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm like, I haven't watched the show in weeks, and now suddenly Jey Uso's fighting Logan Paul in the main event of Saturday Night's main event. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, don't expect a review for that show. We're not doing that one.
But yeah, I think we'll call out for that one.
Yeah, we'll do something else in the place of it, but not that.
No,
Um, so Logan Paul cuts his same promo he does every week. Then Gunther
facts.
comes out, and yeah, he said fact a lot during this one. He was just stating things that are true, and then Gunther comes out, and he just glazes Logan Paul for like 2 minutes, which was upsetting. Um,
It's looking like Krispy Kreme up in there.
man,
Are
glazed
all
him
the
for
donuts
two.
at Krispy Kreme glazed, by the way?
No, not all of them. Some of them are not. Some of them are like Boston Cream type.
I thought there was a glazed too. Was there? Aren't they?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
That'd be too much. You might actually die from one of those.
Maybe. Yeah.
Allegedly, if you put glaze on top of a Krispy Kreme Boston cream donut, you might just die on the spot.
Look, I've had worse. Okay.
The amount of sugar in that, I don't know if that would work.
It'll work, man. It'll work.
Well, it might work, but it also might take you out of the game of life. So that's different.
That's uh that's probably true. Yeah.
So after glazing Logan Paul for far too long, um, which so we're clear, longer than 1 second is too long. But here he did it for 2 minutes, so too long. He says, if you win that title and I have to face you for that belt, I will be upset because you are a non wrestler and I will take it as disrespect and I will beat you up.
Right. Right.
So then he
You know
leaves
what?
the ring.
I
Oh,
didn't
sorry.
like
Go.
that very much, to be honest.
No, me neither. Me neither. But Gunther leaves the ring after that. Logan Paul tries calling him back, but then Jey Uso comes out and super kicks Logan Paul. And I hate that this is the way that this title picture looks because there's part of it which is Seth's group, which is very promising, and then there's this, and I hate that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of very lackluster. It felt. Didn't feel like the best opening for the role.
And I don't know, man. That this was just after. I think the best way to explain this is, like we said, we haven't watched it for a couple weeks, and coming back to this is the very first thing was not promising, nor was it refreshing to see.
Definitely not refreshing. That's for sure. It was very. It sucked all day. It was very dry. It's very dry.
It sucked all the energy right out of us, and then we said, "Damn, we got 2 hours and 15 minutes left of this show. That's crazy."
Yeah. I'd rather not deal with that.
But we did, and watching more of the show, we see Roxanne Perez officially drafted to Raw. Good get for Raw's women's division.
That's pretty good. I mean, she's really talented, to be honest.
Very talented. So Raw gets a very talented wrestler, and then SmackDown gets Julia, another very talented wrestler. It's a good
That was
addition to the
surprising
main
because
roster.
that was very recent. Like Julia just came to NXT.
Yeah, I think a year, maybe less.
Yeah, that's
But
kind of
around that
weird,
time
man.
for
That some people stay for longer, and then Julia just gets called up immediately.
thing with Julia though, Julia doesn't really need it.
A lot of people don't need it, but they're still there, you know.
I get it, but it's not like it's Stephanie Vaquero where she wants to be there so she can develop her promo skills and stuff.
I get it. Ricky Stark should not be there.
Oh, Ricky Starks,
Saints, whatever.
Ricky States, whatever you want to call him, guys like Ethan Page. It doesn't
Ethan
hurt
Page shouldn't be
them.
there either. He's fucking ready.
Look, you take either of those guys, hell, you take Sean Spears, put them on the main roster, they're going straight to the main event, and I'm not talking the good kind.
Not Sean Spears.
No, not Sean Spears at all. I don't care what code you can do for him, he is not going to be having a good time.
Poor Tyler Bates spent so much time in NXT for no reason.
Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne are really having a rough go of it, man. I don't know what the problem is there. I really don't. They're two talented wrestlers, and Triple H just does not seem to have anything for them, and that's crazy.
Yeah, they're two of the best wrestlers in the world, but you wouldn't know that because you don't see them wrestle. So
See, this is a conversation I hate having because I think about how they're not doing anything, but a bum like Jey Uso is, and that's crazy to me.
yeah, Jey Uso, one of the best, as you know. He's the world champion.
You're just saying things to upset me on this Monday evening, and I don't know how I
I'm
feel
just
about that.
speaking fact, as the Logan Paul would say.
Just because he said that, and Paul Heyman kept saying the word fact in his next promo coming up here, that does not mean that it's true.
I mean, some things are facts, and the fact is that Jey Uso's the world champion for a reason.
I don't care how many times Paul Heyman says that Jey Uso's having a hell of a run, that he's a hell of a champion. You are not going to gaslight me into thinking that Jey Uso is a good wrestler. We are not doing this today, okay?
He's not a bad wrestler.
He is mediocre at best.
Average.
Mediocre at best. But
He's
like we said,
average.
Paul Heyman, he's backstage. He runs into Jey Uso, and he says, "Hey, you know what? I want to be honest with you, so no one can say I stabbed you in the back. So here's what's gonna happen. You're a short-term guy, even though you're all right. Seth Rollins, he's the long-term picture." And then he leaves.
Right. Well, I mean, we already had Seth Rollins as champion. We saw that where that went. So Jey Uso's the next up, you know.
So we're clear. The World Heavyweight title picture, it's a low bar for championship ring quality. Hate to say it, but that's just the truth. And Seth Rollins is the best of a low bar.
Sami Zayn should be the champion.
That might be next year.
Right. Right. We have to get that. We have to get that to that point. Yeah. Probably true.
You literally just told me that like 10 minutes ago. That's probably next year. And I said, okay,
Rob Breaker should be the champion.
that's going to be a while from now.
He literally is the best person on Raw.
In ring wise, I love, he's great.
Character wise, in ring wise, everything wise.
I live every day waiting for Ilya Dragunov to come back so we can get more of them too in the ring.
That's boring, man. You don't want to see that.
I do want to see that.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I miss Ilya Dragunov every day, man. That dude's fantastic.
Because they're like wrestlers.
Any wrestler that's just hard hitting, fast, tough guy, I love that. That's my thing, you know?
You gotta watch AEW, as they say. On
No, I
X.
don't. No, no, no. I'm all
New
right, dude.
Japan Pro Wrestling, man. You gotta watch Noah.
I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay.
I barely get through Raw 2.5 hours every week, man. Do you think I'm going to get through another wrestling company?
Definitely not New Japan.
Not these days, no. So let's get
No.
to our first actual match of the night. Penta and AJ Styles versus Finn and JD McDonough. I don't know the storyline behind this match, if
Me
there
too.
was a storyline, but it happens. And El Grande Americano costs Penta the match after he headbutts him in the back of the head from the crowd. The ref doesn't see it, so Finn and JD win the match.
Right. They're always winning off of cheating. So that's kind of their thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the Judgment Day as a whole. It's what they've always
They can
done.
never win
No,
anything clean because they can't be dominant, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, listen, how long is it going to be, right? Until we can get El Grande Americano to be done. Chad Gable doesn't do that anymore. Maybe he leaves the Alpha Academy or whatever
I'm
the hell
still
he calls
confused
it
at where
now.
this is going. Like I don't
I don't
understand.
know. I don't know what the end game is, and I really don't care at this point what the end game is, because I naturally assumed it was gonna be with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, but then he got injured, and I don't think they know what to do now.
Is this just one of those things where it's like funny for Triple H to see? Like, you know how Vince used to book things because it was funny? What if Triple H is like booking it because it's funny for him?
I think he thought like, oh, okay, it's this dumb little thing. We'll do it for like a couple weeks, and then WrestleMania will blow it off with you losing to Rey Mysterio. But then Ray got injured, and now he doesn't know what to do. So now it's just gonna keep going for a little bit
Because it's not even
until he
funny
can figure
anymore.
it
It's
out.
just like random, you know?
Arguably, it never was funny.
It really wasn't funny. It's true. It's kind of cringe, to be honest.
It's kind of dumb. I wish they just let Chad Gable be Chad Gable.
Just BJ, exactly. This is like, oh, complete waste of time. Complete waste of Chad Gable time as well.
And I don't know, man. It's rough.
Yeah.
Um, Sorry if this is gonna go off as more of a negative review, I guess. I guess we should have started off with that. But this show was a very
I'm sure you can see
slow.
that by now, to be honest.
Nothing really important happens on this show. There's some great stuff, particularly with the women's triple threat match. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But other than
Yeah.
that, the show is not great.
Yeah, I mean, there was only a few decent matches on the show, and that's about it.
So next up, we get a promo segment. It is Io Sky talking to Kathy Kelly. Kathy saying, "Hey, Io, what are your thoughts on Money in the Bank?" Before she can finish her thought, though, Becky shows up, talking about she's gonna win the match. Io talks back to something I don't remember. Then Becky goes out uh, to have the match. Before that, we get a Seth and Logan Paul promo, which is fantastic.
Right. They snuck that in there.
Nothing more better than seeing Logan Paul more than once in one night,
Many times, many times.
too many times.
Too many to count.
To clarify, once is too many times.
Too many to count. Can't count them.
So Seth basically tells Logan Paul, "Listen, if you win that title, just know it's because my guy Braun Breaker softened him up in the main event, and just remember that because if you beat him and then you beat Gunther, well, maybe you give me a title shot, and
What
that
is
could be
going
something."
on?
So that's just Seth's whole thing. But now he's going around saying, "Hey, you're cool. Why don't if you win your title, why don't I get a shot?" It's just to Logan Paul and Gunther, and it's really I get what he's doing, but I don't know. It's just it is what it is. It's nothing fascinating to me.
I like the what he's like. I like how he's saying it, but I'm not sure if I like exactly what he's saying.
I like the idea, but the thing is, the I okay, here's the deal. The minute you tell me a sentence that has Logan Paul and him being champion in the same sentence, I'm already turned off to the idea. But
Yeah,
I just the minute you bring Logan Paul to anything, I'm gone. But
right.
I get what he's saying. I'm just you don't need a whole backstage segment right now where he's doing hypotheticals. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I feel like Seth's definitely the future though. He's gonna be the champion.
Yeah, we all know that. We're just waiting to see how he gets there. But like, you don't need to do hypotheticals where it says like, well, what if this happens, and then maybe you leave me a title shot because this happened. I
Yeah,
don't think it's necessary. I feel like they were just trying to get Seth on the show doing something.
'cause this might not even lead to anything really.
Really, it just feels like they're unnecessarily reminding you that Seth being champion is the end game. But we
Right.
already knew that, and no one forgot that. Nobody here is thinking that's not going to happen. So it's weird to keep telling me it's going to happen.
Exactly. Because it's gonna happen. So whatever.
Anyway, we could be positive for a
Well,
little
you
bit
never
here.
know what's gonna happen if you're in AEW though, and you're John Moxley.
How is AEW coming into this? What are we doing?
I'm just saying, man. John Moxley's held this championship for so damn long, brother. And
That's
Swerve should have taken it off of him, but he didn't fucking do it.
that's not Swerve's fault.
I know it's fucking Tony Khan. I'm just saying, if it was Tony Khan, Jey Uso has the championship for a long time.
Look, it's bad enough that's already happening. I don't know how much more of Jey Uso's champion I could take. Okay, I don't know how many more months I could do of this physically.
You have to wait until someone comes back from Mount Everest. You know?
At least I like John Moxley. I know I don't know what he's doing now, but when I was watching it, I did like John Moxley.
It's like
So I feel
doing
like I
something
could.
with a Gabe Kid or whatever.
At least John Moxley's a talented wrestler. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. At least he's a talented wrestler. I could watch a John Moxley match and be fine with it.
He's that broad.
I don't know how many more quote unquote main event Jey Uso matches I can deal with him as champion.
I don't hate Jey Uso's in ring work.
There's so many factors that contribute to it. I don't know if we have the time to go over all that right now, but just know for me personally, there's a lot of factors that contribute to me not liking his character and the reign he's having currently, even though it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah, I understand, but I just don't feel that way. I don't care.
They're
Be honest.
literally telling you on TV right now that Seth Rollins is going to beat him.
Good,
We just don't know when yet.
fantastic.
And I say the sooner the better. But let's be
Might not,
positive
you
for a
might
minute
not
here.
beat him, to be honest.
He's gonna though, because otherwise the script doesn't make sense.
You might not beat him. And then we need a third person.
If this doesn't end with Seth beating Jey Uso for the title, then this whole group is a waste of time.
Well, I guess they need a third person anyway. But they can have a fourth person.
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Who's the third person gonna be?
God knows. I mean, there might not even be one for all we know.
Rusev.
They already got a big bruiser guy. You don't need another one.
Oh, that's true. It's the same thing. Okay.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't
yeah,
know. I can't think of.
I love Rusev, but you don't need him in that group.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, having too much of the same thing is not good. You know.
See, what I would do is I'd break up Theory and Waller, finally. And I would take the more talented of the two, Waller, and put him in that group.
That's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout.
I'd prefer that. But let's be positive for a little bit here. We're going to talk about Becky, Natalia, and Roxanne in their qualifier match. This was the best match on the show by a country mile, and there's very little competition for that spot, but that doesn't mean this wasn't a good match.
This match was really good, actually. For a TV match, of course, it was
It's
pretty good.
pretty good triple threat match here. And Roxanne went into, she qualifies for Money in the Bank. Very enjoyable match.
Enjoyable, right person won. I can't complain.
No, you also further the feud, I guess, with Lyra and Becky. So you can keep doing that if you want. And Natalia was there.
Natalia was there. Unfortunately, she didn't have much shine. I'm gonna say that.
Oh, but she did stuff. It wasn't like she wasn't doing nothing. She just,
She should
you
have
know,
slapped somebody. You know,
yeah, she just slapped somebody in the crowd. Do it again. Just keep doing it. That's the gimmick.
do it again. Exactly. Because he didn't win the match, so he just gotta slap somebody.
Yeah, you know, Will Smith
Classic
would be
stuff.
proud. Will Smith would
Will
love
Smith,
that.
get my name out your mouth, bow. And then they'll be like, "What? I didn't. Why you say fuck me for?" You know.
And then you put it on a T-shirt.
Exactly.
Get a T-shirt that says "Slap Me Natalia," but like not in a weird way.
I like. Okay, that's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie.
No, but
Kind of
like, look,
crazy.
you get the
Kind of crazy.
T-shirt and you sell it, and then you make the money.
On what website?
WWEshop.com, of course.
You can't sell it on that website. Oh, wait, you want WWE to sell it to people?
They've sold worse.
That's not sure. It kind of makes sense, actually. Kind of makes sense.
Doesn't have to be weird. You're making it weird.
I mean, you're the one that said it was kind of weird, but whatever.
No, I said not in a weird way. Specifically, nothing weird about this. It's not in a weird way.
It's kind of weird though. Sometimes.
There's nothing weird about it.
Sure, sure,
It's only weird if you make it weird.
right. And people are gonna make it weird. That's why it's weird.
You don't gotta make it weird though.
You can't put the trust into people's hands. You can't do it.
I know, but I'm just saying it doesn't have to be weird.
It
It's
doesn't have to be, but
only
it will be. So that's
it's
unfortunate.
only as weird as you make it, and that's not a challenge.
Like I said, so this idea, throw it in the trash.
Or don't. If you do it, royalties,
Give
right
him
there.
credit. Exactly.
I'll take the credit. Unless it goes bad, then I won't take the credit.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the thing is, you're gonna take credit until it doesn't go bad, or until it goes bad. So I mean, you'll still have the credit on there in history.
But only for when it was good. Should it
Right.
have ever been good?
If that's how people look at it, dude.
But
Now,
royalties, regardless,
how do we transition?
we just pretend that we didn't talk about that and we just move on
Right. All right.
to the weekly visit to Adam Pierce's office with Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. Tozawa, he wants a match with Rusev next week because he's mad about what happened to Otis. And Adam Pierce says, okay, that's a terrible idea, but okay. And
Yeah.
then that's
Wait,
pretty
did she
much that.
do the Jay and Sammy segment where Jay says, or Sammy says that he has Jay's back or whatever?
I zoned out, not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. So I got that covered. It's all good.
Like, that's basically all it was.
They do
Basically all.
handshake. Somebody know they do handshake.
Jay and Sammy do handshake.
I
Sammy promised support.
don't even know if that's what he said. I can barely hear him, but that's what I got out of it. Okay.
He basically just said, just you got a lot going on. I'm here to take some of that burden off your shoulder. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, something like that.
But if Sami Zayn could cut promos in a caveman-like fashion from this moment forward, that would be preferred.
Let's do handshake.
Jay, do handshake.
Exactly.
So he gets that. Tozawa gets that match with Rusev next week, but then Chad Gable comes in with Ivy Nile, says, "I hope Rusev kills you, dumbass." And then and Pierce is like, "Why are you here? What do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, well, we want to know where our opportunities are because our guys, Freebirds, getting opportunities. What about our opportunities?" And then he said, "We already talked about that." But then the New Day show up, and then he gets upset that nobody knocked. He's like, "Man, can you talk about whatever you're gonna talk about outside my
What if I was
office?"
butt ass naked?
Yeah,
Naked grandma.
doesn't suggest that, but that's a good point. What if he was naked?
Naked grandma Steve.
A lot of hypotheticals on this review. A lot of hypotheticals.
Exactly.
It raises the question, really, who is Steve in this equation?
Probably Chad. Probably Chad Gable.
I hope Chad Gable can do the faces that Steve Harvey does too. That's
You probably could. Yeah,
preferred.
probably could.
But yeah, so New Day and Chad are talking, and he's like, "Can you get out of my office and talk somewhere else?" Then he goes, "It smells like midlife crisis in here." And he goes, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Get out of my office. What is wrong with you?"
Yeah. I didn't know what was going on in this segment, really.
Me neither. It's just, I like seeing Adam Pierce look like he's about to crash out any minute. So this did it for me. And I was okay with that.
Not bad. Not horrible.
Next up, we get to a random match that went on for about 10 minutes with Lawler and Sheamus. Sheamus
Too
wins
long.
after further teases of Theory and Lawler breaking up. It's been a year now. If he could just do it or not do it, that'd be fantastic.
I mean, they are losers. I mean, they might as well just split ways here.
I don't care about either of them. And I, you've been teasing the split for about a year now. Just do it or don't. Either go after the tag belts or break up. I don't care. Just do one.
And they're not going to do the first thing, so might as well break up.
Might as well. You should. You really should. You'd have better careers if you did.
Like you're just a supporting factor to the other guy during his singles career.
I mean, because, uh, Austin Theory could try something new. Maybe you could try being a face for a little bit. Maybe that works better for him. Grayson Waller could be a heel. Maybe align with Seth's group like I pitched earlier. And he can get that experience and the rub from them. I think it's a good idea. Why not
Right.
try?
Yeah, I mean, look, Grayson Waller could be a big deal. I guess. His in-ring gear is not that good though.
No, it's early boxing trunks and some Nikes, but what are you gonna do?
His old theme song was pretty fire.
It was. Miss it.
Say low when I pop out. They say so.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Not bad.
So next up,
My
with more
personal favorite
things,
highlight is when he did the shoot. The shoot.
yeah, the shoey that they happen to do in Australia potentially.
But yeah, I gotta ask somebody. I gotta ask somebody about that.
If anyone wants to let us know, happens to be listening from Australia,
And do you do
is
the
that
shoey at the parties?
n- don't say it like that.
Why
Uh, he wants to
not?
know if shoeys are a real thing. I believe they are, but I am not Australian. I cannot confirm. So let us know in the comments below. Is that a thing?
Yo, that's a good. That's a good. That's better than what I was gonna do. All right. But that's good. It's
Doesn't
good asking
have
the
to
asking the
just
public.
doesn't have to just be at the parties as he suggested. You know, you do it just in general.
Yeah, do y'all just do it in the club or do you have clubs in Australia? That's a good question. Got
Not that
clubs?
I'm sure they do it. I'm not suggesting like, you do it like every 5 minutes. I'm saying like, is that just a thing, in
Yeah.
Australia?
Y'all do it in your backyard, just chilling. You're
Yeah,
like, damn, I gotta do a quick shoey right now.
yeah, then, if you just so happen to do it at the parties, you could also include that and make him happy.
Yeah, just that. Let me know. Let me know in the comments.
Something that made nobody happy, I'm pretty sure. Tyrese Halliburton interview for
Who?
no reason.
Who?
They interviewed this basketball player from the Indiana Pacers. You know what? Maybe
Who?
he's talented, maybe he's
Who?
not. But why they're interviewing him on a wrestling show about NBA, I could not tell you. I could not begin to tell you. What I can tell you is that he's going to be in 2K25, the WWE game, as TLC.
Right, that's why
Because,
they're doing.
I mean, I know I've been waiting for it.
I know a lot of people have. All right. I know it's a big
This,
topic of discussion.
this is just as exciting as Pat McAfee's TLC pack from last year.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Tyrese in 2K 25 WWE edition.
So moving on quickly from that, Seth interrupts a Gunther promo backstage to once again pitch more hypotheticals, but Gunther's not having this one. So that's how that goes.
Right? He said, "Nah, I'm not having this, pal."
He goes, Seth, I see what you're doing here. Don't appreciate it. I'm not having this. And then he walked away.
Yeah, exactly. And Seth kind of cut the bullshit a little bit.
He did. He did say he was going to do that.
Didn't cut the cheese though. Thank God.
Well, that would have been a completely different,
It
you know. I don't know if
was
I could have
stuck up.
kept watching.
Has anyone ever actually farted fucking Mike and everything?
Intentionally? I don't believe so.
Like not intentional, no, on accident, but in the mic, like you can hear it, and then it's like, oh, that's bad.
Isn't
Not
that what
Natal,
happened?
not Natalia, someone else.
How'd you know I was going there?
Because I know about Natalia. It was a gimmick, okay? I'm talking about just randomly farted. Like someone's supposed to be serious and they just fucking let out one, a little toot.
That's not fair. You literally said, what's the answer to the question? I was about to give you the answer. And you said, no, I don't want the answer to the question. I want the answer to the question. I'm like, what do you mean?
No, no, not Natalia.
Along with the Shuey response, let us know. Has it happened to anyone not named Natalia?
Exactly.
So next up, we get to a rough match. Rhea versus Kyrie Sane versus Zoe Stark,
Ay,
where
ay,
Zoe
ay,
Stark
ay.
takes a nasty looking bump and potentially re-injures her knee. They cut
That
the
sucks,
commercial,
man.
and she is taken out of the match, so it becomes a one-on-one with Rhea and Kyrie. And man,
Kind of,
like you said, it's rough.
kind of depressing, yeah. So the rest of the match was a singles match.
Let me
Get
just
well
say,
soon, by the way. Get well soon, Zoe Stark.
yeah, yeah, definitely get well soon. Let me just say, I've seen the still shot of what happened. My God, that was rough.
Yeah, yeah, definitely not something good, especially after you've already gotten surgery on that exact leg. That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate look. Hopefully, it's not as serious as it looked. But
You can only
yeah,
hope. Yeah.
back to the match that became a one-on-one match. Rhea wins. She is qualified for Money in the Bank. The field is currently Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Roxanne Perez.
It's fire. It's actually really good. Don't
I
put
don't mind.
Charlotte there. No Charlotte. Thank
Now
God.
she might be. She might be.
No, no Charlotte. No.
She very well could be.
Like the Office gif. No God, please no. No.
Well, this isn't Toby. This is Charlotte Flair we're talking about.
I'll talk about Charlotte Flair. Same way. Okay. No.
Next up, one of the other things I enjoyed on the show, Rusev promo. Love this one.
Rusev, Machka.
His Redeemer
Rusev.
gimmick was one of my favorite things
Jesus.
in
For
AEW, and
God.
I'm glad he's doing it here.
Yeah.
Basically, the Redeemer, but he's just not saying that he's the Redeemer, and I'm fine with that.
That's kind of what it was giving, right? But it's not the same vibe, but it's a similar vibe. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. He's just not saying the word, and I'm okay with that because him doing those promos, what did he say? He's gonna break him, forget about him. No, sorry, he said he's gonna break him, forgive him, and then forget about it.
Yeah. I don't know what he said, but it sounds about right.
Yeah, it's some cool line about how your pride give, gives you confidence, but your arrogance will be your downfall or something.
How do you fucking remember any of this?
Because it was cool, and I was reading the subtitles.
Oh, I didn't read anything. I'm a listener. I'm not a reader.
I
If I wanted to read, I would read.
listen to when you're sitting through a 2.5 hour show, and something interesting finally happens, man. You pay attention, okay?
I'm trying, man, but it's hard to pay attention when they say a bunch of words that don't make sense.
It made sense what he was saying.
Well, it probably did, but I just zone out. It's too boring to me. But whatever.
Speaking of some more
Uh,
interesting concepts here, Roxanne Perez potentially joining the Judgment Day. Finn Balor
I'm
brings
not
her
saying
in.
I hate that segment. I love when he does that. I'm just saying I can't focus on that.
He's just saying that he was bored and that, by that point, it was just tough to pay attention, but it was
Exactly.
good.
Basically. Yeah.
But yeah, so Roxanne potentially joined the Judgment Day, brought in by Finn Balor to talk to the group. She brings gifts for the group. She brings Dom his chicken tendies, brings
Nice.
Carlito an apple, but Raquel
He
does
watches the
not
product.
appreciate it.
Watches the product.
She watches the product, but here's my problem with this thing. And this really is just a thing I noticed. And I asked you about it when I noticed it. Judgment Day is 6 people. It's JD, Carlito, Finn Balor, Dom, Liv, and Raquel.
Right.
Now, thing goes, Roxanne has gifts for you guys. And she only brings gifts 2 people.
Right. Maybe the other gifts were secret. You never know.
I'm just saying, that's kind of fucked up.
To be fair, you don't know what everyone wants.
No, but guess, or at least try. You know what I mean? Because, it's already going to be tough to get in here. Now, at least try to sway the rest of the group, don't isolate them by not getting them something.
I would have gotten everyone chicken tendies. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, you could.
Chicken tendies and apples, the school lunch special. Here you go.
Like if I was trying to join Wrassle Graps, right? I would get me uh I would get me
What?
some I would get myself some Qdoba, right? I would get myself
Right.
some Qdoba, a good bowl, and then I would get you a Liv Morgan cardboard cutout, but not in a
Yeah.
weird way.
I know we.
Just
It's not a
because
weird way.
it's the
Just
gimmick,
like it's the gimmick exactly. You wouldn't understand. It's just the gimmick.
Long-term listeners will understand
Yeah, you
if
don't
those
understand.
two
It's
so
not.
happen
It's
to exist.
not a weird. Not a weird thing.
Every time you explain it, it sounds like a weird thing, but I've been assured by you that it's not a weird thing.
Not at all. No, no.
And that makes it okay, I think.
Right. That's correct.
So moving on to the main event, Braun and Jey Uso. So Jey Uso has
Yeah.
this new thing now. I didn't know this is a thing. Where he picks up a random child and starts eating.
Okay, don't say it like that. Don't say it like that. Say it some other way, please.
I'm saying what I saw.
I mean, that's what happened, but say it some other way.
He picks up a random child from the crowd. I'll give it more context so you can be happy. Picks up a random child from the crowd and starts doing his yeet hand thing that he does, but not in a
Right.
weird way.
I know
There you
weird
go.
way. Right. That's not gonna be the name of the episode. Well, it could be, alright, whatever.
But not in the Velveteen Dream-esque way.
Not
In a
like that.
normal, cool, okay way that will
That kind
make
of
the
explains it
child
better.
happy.
It kind of explains it better than before.
There you go. Not in a way that will ruin a child's life, in a way that would make their day. It would be a fun memory for them.
Yeah, they remember the every time. They remember that doing the yeet chant with Uso.
Then we get to the match itself, and Braun Breaker, I always love seeing him. Jey Uso was there, but Braun Breaker, he was there too. And match
Oh,
ends
him
in
was there too.
DQ.
Don't forget.
Yeah, that's also true. Um, Seth Rollins causes a disqualification by attacking Jey. Then Sammy comes out with CM Punk to fight off Braun and Seth. They fight to the crowd. And then Jay's in the ring and gets knocked out by Logan Paul, and that's how the show ends. And that was this week's Monday Night Raw.
That is correct. And Logan Paul was bleeding, wasn't he?
He was randomly bleeding from the mouth, but nobody hit him. And as far as I'm aware,
Or maybe he
and
bit his tongue. Oh, that makes sense.
no, he was bleeding from his upper gums.
Oh, maybe his gums was fucked up. I don't know.
No, gum disease is a real problem.
Sorry, my bad for joking about it.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I'm not joking, but
I'm just saying, that might be a thing. If I were him, I get it looked at. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't joke about it. I'm just saying I would get it looked at.
right. Okay. Yeah, I would get looked at too. 'Cause he was pretty serious.
If I start randomly bleeding from the mouth at random intervals, I would definitely get that looked at.
I call an ambulance.
Maybe not. It's not that serious, but maybe schedule an app- maybe schedule an appointment with your local dentist. Is all I'm saying.
He's like, get a little checkup going.
Just to keep a gimmick with the rest of the episode, schedule the appointment with your local dentist, but not in a weird way.
Nah, no weird way. No.
And that'll be it for this Monday Night Raw review. What were your thoughts on this one?
Right, I forgot we had to give thoughts on the show. Um, I give it a double thumbs down, probably.
I give it a singular thumbs down just because nothing actively damaging happened to anybody. At least not in a character way, maybe in a physical way with Zoe Stark. But I mean, like, not in a character way. I was just bored the whole time.
That sounds
Well,
like a double
most of
thumbs
the time.
down.
I'm gonna give it. This is an all-timer worst show. I've seen a lot worse. This is a thumbs down.
Yeah, look, I don't know. There was like only one good match on the show, and the rest of the segments kind of sucked. So I mean, there's not much entertainment there.
I think it'll hopefully get better once this Logan Paul Jey Uso feud is over, because then we can get back to serious stuff.
Let's just get past this part of WWE where we start cramming everything into 1 week and 1 week and one because got off a pay per view and now we're doing Saturday night's main event. It's too much.
It's not even that they're doing another thing; it's that they're doing a house show that basically means nothing,
Yeah, that's
and that's
true. It
the
doesn't
issue.
mean shit, but it is what it is.
That's the worst part about it, and the fact that we have to pretend that it matters is really what hurts it the most.
Right, that's correct.
And then now in 2 weeks, you got Money in the Bank. So what do we do? Do we take
What are
one
we?
thing seriously at a time?
I honestly wish we focused a lot on R-Truth and John Cena.
They're not gonna do that though.
They're not going to, but they should. They should. I don't care what everyone's saying. They should.
All right, well, that's a SmackDown problem. That was the Raw review, though. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. He desperately needs to know the answer to the Chewie thing. I mean, desperately. He won't be able to sleep until he knows. So if you can,
It's not in a weird way though.
in a completely normal way,
Yeah.
you know, um, please follow us on all the social media platforms if you are not currently. Keep up to date with us, all our uploads and everything like that. If you can, greatly appreciate it if you can go give us a 5-star on all the podcasting platforms. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening.